Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. We're taking a quick look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. Apologize, I am feeling slightly under the weather, so if you hear me clear my voice, just a heads up. Trying to get that out. We'll try to make this a quick one here for you. So when it comes to Bitcoin, what we want to talk about is a quick couple of things. We're going to jump into the back-end data here first. Kind of start with some foundational stuff, kind of some important things that we need to look at, right? Liquidation levels, heat maps, those things there. Then we're going to transition kind of over to Bitcoin dominance and, of course, touch on alt dominance as well and kind of see what that looks like, okay? So those are things that I think are important. So make sure you stick through to the end if you want to kind of learn something here today. Just to quickly note, we saw yesterday a lot more longs got liquidated than shorts. So it was one of those days where we were at 34,800, right in that range. Dropped, right, chunked all the way down to 34.2. During that time, we got a lot of liquidations that did occur there. So just know that that was kind of a common theme, and it's interesting how it worked too, because when that occurred, we saw the price action drop, but also we saw a lot of altcoins stay steady. Coincidentally, today the altcoins are mostly dropping, and Bitcoin is staying steady, right? So it's that whole Bitcoin altcoin dominance situation. We'll talk about that in a minute. That being said, though, we'll look at here. We can see whales are slightly more active today than yesterday. It's pretty standard. We can also see that fear and greed index is still pretty good. I think as long as we remain over 30,000, we're probably going to see fear and greed index staying more so on the greedy side than the fear side. Okay, so I think that's pretty standard, pretty normal. But right now we can kind of see that there are slightly more longs in the market than shorts, at least aggregated across multiple exchanges. Okay, so that's kind of the bias right now is a little more long focused, if you will. Okay, taking a look here at open interest. Let's quickly note a couple of things. Go ahead and take a closer look here at the longs and see where they're hedged at. We have the most amount of longs. We got some late longs here at 34.5. They're kind of underwater. The midterm longs here, basically those who got in at roughly 34.3, 34.4, they're break even slightly in profit. Okay? So it's important to know because it does tell us we have a lot more longs than shorts, but there is a short accumulation here specifically ranged at 34,400. So 34.4 is a very interesting point for shorts. They're at this under the impression if we lose that level, could go lower. And the reason why these things are important to know is because you see where the most amount of shorts are aggregated. You know that they're all kind of tightly knit right there in that one place. That leads us to believe that that's a strong support or resistance level. Okay, a lot of times again, you'll see stop losses set just above or below key level supports. Furthermore, let's take a quick look here. This is just the last 7 days of data, but in the last 7 days of data, we can see here that we've got a lot of liquidations still to occur up at 32,200. Sorry, 35.2. So basically implies that we got that resistance there, right? 35,200 is the exact level the price wicked up to when it first hit that range. Okay, that's the highest point, our most recent high. So it makes sense there's going to be a lot of liquidation there because the fact that that is right where all the stop losses are placed. So the reason why that's relevant and important to know is because if we do wick up here to 35,250, we're going to see the price continue to shoot much further higher if and when that happens, because of the fact that we have a lot of liquidation. And once all that closes at the exact same time, those shorts turn into longs and the price just goes higher from there. Yeah, we may be a little ways from that, but right now, Bitcoin is printing somewhat of an interesting pattern here, somewhat of a pennant pattern. And the likelihood of a breakout to the upside, or at least to retest that level, to fill that upper liquidity level, would make a lot of sense. You see this liquidity here hasn't completely gotten filled. Most of it has. It was swept here fairly recent, but once more, I still think there's one more chance that we're going to go ahead and see the price try to wake up there. At least another attempt. Whether or not it holds is up to the market movers, but we're going to find out inevitably here in the near future. Keep in mind, tomorrow we do have the Fed meeting, right? So if we zoom down here, kind of scroll to my first post of the day, just a quick heads up if you missed my updates yesterday. Fed meeting, inflation, we're going to know more about that tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're meeting today, but they're going to give us the minutes tomorrow effectively. And then he's going to go live at 2:30, this wonderful individual Jerome Powell, and he's going to move the market based on how he communicates. Okay. Quick little heads up too. Also, I forgot to mention this. I do have a giveaway. If Bitcoin does break 41,000 by the end of the year, I will be providing $50 USDT to one person who retweets and follows this. Of course, follows me at the time. So greatly appreciate that. I like to provide those things occasionally just because we do need help growing our Twitter, but also more important, I like to make sure to pay that forward too, because we've had a pretty good year here so far with our premium group. All right, so when it comes to Bitcoin, let's go back to the daily and kind of just work our way down. We've already talked about the weekly and the monthly. In fact, why don't we just touch on the monthly, just to kind of recap here, because once more, it is important to note that we are above both moving averages. This monthly candle is a very bullish engulfing candle. It's engulfing pretty much the entire last 5 or 6 months of nonsense, and looking very good. We're above 50 in the RSI, and the MACD is essentially bouncing. So truth is, we should see a green month next month from November. It's just a matter of if the beginning of the month opens red and then we shoot up from there, or it just goes up and corrects itself. Okay, one or two things should happen. Again, statistically, we're more likely to increase in November because it is considered a month that we see the most growth. I think it's 2 or 3 times the average return in November alone. Likely because of the holidays and elections and all those things that typically fall in that date. But once more, that is just something to know. All right, so take a look here at the daily. We are looking at significantly overextended on the RSI. I'm still under the impression we're going to see a correction in the relative near future. If we take a look at the MACD, we're starting to lose momentum even still as this continues to dissipate without a break through the up level here, or the 35,000 range. We're going to see the price continue lower. Okay, so it's just a statistical probability of the price coming down. Again, it's not going to probably. I think the probability of coming all the way down to 21,000 to fill that CME gap is pretty low, but it's still a slight possibility, right? Just as 35,000 was a possibility a week ago, and now it's a reality. It could very well happen. But what I'm getting at is that the probability of hitting that lower level, the CME gap, is pretty unrealistic. But it is also very realistic to see 30,000 retested. So just keep in mind we got a decent amount of volume support at this range. But the likelihood of the price coming down here to retest these two levels here, 30/31,300, I think is still fairly quite high. It could happen here soon, and then of course just ramps right back up there to recover after they sweep all the long profits. Because again, there's a lot of profit, a lot of money left here, meat on the bone, whatever you want to call it, there between 30 and 33,000. Okay, so just know that's a potential reality. Key takeaway here is on the 4-hour, we are trending above the 50-day SMA, but we're barely holding above that. The 200 is trailing behind, but if you look at the daily, the similar scenario here where the 20-day SMA is running concurrent with this ascending trend. So until we break below some of those moving averages, we have a higher probability of the price staying where it's at or going higher. I know it sounds contradictory because I've mentioned a few different scenarios where the price could drop and it should drop. It's just an inevitability, really. Okay, 30,000 I think is very much realistic probability. It's just a matter of when that's going to happen. Okay, I know it seems crazy because obviously we want to know when that is. The truth is, no one really does know, and it's just one of those things where we just kind of gotta roll with what we have here so far. But to me, being overextended like this, it would make sense for us to see one last sweep and then to retest these lower levels, or we see a sweep of the lower levels and then it ramps back up and wrecks all the late shorts. Okay, one thing's for certain: late shorts and late longs get hit very, very hard. So truth is, you don't want to be one of the either or either one of those, however you look at it. It's not ideal. And the way to circumvent that is to essentially just be patient and wait for good confirmation. When we're range bound like this, to me, this is not good trading. In other words, I do not like to trade Bitcoin when it does this. I like to trade altcoins and understanding dominance. Oh, speaking of which, I mentioned that we were going to talk about that. Bitcoin dominance is roughly remaining the same. Okay? In other words, it's in the 53 to 54% range. When that happens, altcoins typically take a nosedive. Okay? Now, I'm very surprised that this didn't happen sooner, but for the most part, we've seen altcoins increasing steadily over the last few weeks, and it makes sense for the price to pull back. And if you look at its history too, altcoins have a tendency of ramping up and then dumping almost all at once. So today's a pretty deep red day. So I'm speculating that we're probably going to see altcoins start to maybe have one more day of correction, but start to stabilize here soon. And the reason why that happens is because when you have, hold on, let me pull up it's education here. When you have the Bitcoin dominance high and the price of Bitcoin is up, you see altcoins typically go down. That's what we're seeing right now. But just keep in mind, if Bitcoin does drop, right, we're due for a massive correction. So that's where I think we're going to see somewhat of a dump from alts here soon, because they're fairly overinflated. Good news is we saw a lot of correction here today, that kind of natural correction where the price came down from a lot of coins. But I think we are still looking for a little bit more of a downside. So just know, we come down to retest this low 33,000 range again, you bet your butt altcoins are going to dump. And if we have some crazy inflation news tomorrow, same thing as well. So please be mindful of that. Keep your head on a swivel here. I do not recommend taking too many trades into tomorrow's Fed meeting. You know, you can get lucky. It's a 50-50 shot. You flip a coin. But for the most part, the wicks go up and down instantly and just wipe out all sorts of trade longs and shorts. So do not use high leverage going into tomorrow. Please don't do that. Okay, so RSI, you can see here, this is a scary thing here, right? What I mean by that is we can see the RSI steadily decreasing and the price going sideways and kind of up, okay? That's a type of divergence that you want to be careful of. Basically tells us that the momentum could be shifting in the near future here. We can also see, of course, that the MACD hasn't converged yet, still trying, not a lot going on there. So to me, it makes, again, more sense for us to see the price pull back. But once more, be prepared for some ugly wick up here to wreck all those shorts at 35.2, and then the price come right back down. Or again, opposite occurs where they sweep the longs and then shoot right back up and continue on their merry way. All right. Unfortunately, manipulation is very consistent, so you can kind of expect it. It's just a matter of when. And when you're range bound like this, with the oscillators going down, the price going up, it's a recipe for disaster. So try not to buy into that. And if you can, I wouldn't FOMO in if you don't possible. Add your spot bag, but don't FOMO into a crazy long 100x position. Okay, it's probably not going to happen. I hope I'm wrong and the price goes to 41,000. I would be happy with that. But still, just something to know. All right, last thing to note. Ichimoku Cloud, kind of irrelevant here on the hourly. Not much to really understand there, except that we keep waving above and below. Truth is, there's not a lot of momentum. This is just a big mess. So again, when the price is range bound like this for Bitcoin, it's not really something you really want to trade. Take a look at Bollinger Bands. You'll see they're starting to get tighter and tighter, and that's not really a great sign either. So I do feel a breakout's going to occur here soon. It's just a matter of what direction. Is it going to go up or down? And I can't truthfully tell you that. Again, I feel like we're going to see a liquidation hunt here very soon. That's almost a guarantee, especially leading into tomorrow. It's just too tight right now for me to want to take a trade. Again, more conservative. I do not like to take massive risks. That's why most of my trades are low leverage, low position size. Again, it's okay. I survive the markets. I do very well. While I don't make millions of dollars, I'm still very consistent. So again, you want some consistency like that yourself? CryptoCash.tech is a site. Link down below. Join our premium group. Got a lot of new members coming over, mainly because we are going to start limiting the amount of members. So keep that in mind. It's nice. We just want to have a nice, tight-knit little group. That's all. So again, thanks so much for the requests, the feedback, and the wonderful, wonderful support over the years. To all my members, you know who you are. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks again. And if you want to help us grow our community, CryptoCash.tech again, but also more importantly, jump on over to our Twitter, Telegram, Discord, and help things kind of get moving. We got some really cool members over there, and it's a lot of fun. So be sure to check that out. All right, thanks again for your time. We'll see you on the next one.